The Port of Baltimore's Francis Scott Key Bridge collapsed on Tuesday after a cargo ship crashed into one of its pylons. It's forced shipping traffic to be diverted to the Port of Virginia. The disruption is likely to have a lasting impact on Maryland's economy and on national supply chains, Tayyibe Aydin reports.
The Francis Scott Key Bridge is a vital transportation route for many of Maryland's residents, carrying the Interstate 695 roadway. It's also a vital route for the transportation of goods. The collapse has halted the flow of ships in and out of the Port of Baltimore, the 11th largest port in the US. More than 52 million tons of foreign cargo, worth around $80 billion, were transported out of the port last year. The Port of Baltimore is the top US port for the shipment of cars, handling more than 750,000 vehicles last year. It handles import and exports from major automakers like Nissan, Toyota and GM. The port is also the largest by volume for handling farm and construction machinery, as well as agricultural products. Imports of agricultural products totaled 3 million tons last year, including 1.2 million of sugar and salt, as well as gypsum, fertilizers, and forest products. Baltimore is one of the US's top coal exporters. The port shipped around 20.3 short tons of coal in the first 9 months of 2023, up around 40% from the same period in 2022. It also exports smaller amounts of other metals and minerals, as well as liquefied natural gas. Another industry that will be affected by the shutdown is cruises. Last year, cruises carrying around 444,000 passengers departed from the port along the Patapsco River. The International Longshoremen's Association of Baltimore has warned the collapse of the bridge will have major consequences for the port's workforce and the state's economy for the foreseeable future. The bridge and port will likely be out of service for months, forcing shipments to reroute and take their business elsewhere. Tayyibe Aydin, TRT World.
For more on this, let's bring in Chase Glasson, who is a specialist on political risk and corporate strategy, and he joins us now from Illinois. Thank you for being with us today.
Absolutely. Good morning. Thanks for having me.
So after this disaster that we've seen, what do you think the impact on the economy will be, and not just on the Maryland's economy?
Certainly. So for Maryland, it's obviously going to be devastating. About $3.3 billion in personal income stems from the port, along with $400 million USD in taxes to the state of Maryland, but also to the national economy. There will be an impact, particularly with regards to car shipments. As you said, it's the largest port for bringing in vehicles in the United States, not only cars, but also farm and construction equipment. So there will be less access to these items for consumers seeking to purchase them, which will cause potentially prices to rise and all sorts of other issues on top of all the other supply chain issues that we've already been facing since the pandemic and with Ukraine war and the Red Sea, the Houthis, all these other things. So it's certainly not good. It's also going to impact the insurance industry, particularly reinsurance. Barclays estimated that it could cost between anywhere $1.5 billion to $3 billion in fees, payouts, and there's going to be years of litigation. So overall, it's just not a good thing.
Interesting. So the car shipments industry, insurance and reinsurance sector very much in the spotlight. And I do want to ask you as well, how important is the port for coal and for some other commodities as well, for instance, LNG, first of all? And do you think we will see an actual impact on the prices of these commodities?
So they are important for these, but not to an effect where I believe that it will cause any sort of spikes in commodities prices. So you have the Cove Point LNG facility, which they ship out 500,000 LNG tons a month. And they already said that since they are downstream the Patapsco River, that they should not have any issues. Also, coal, about 25% of coal exports from the United States are shipped out of the port of Baltimore. But given that this year already coal prices are depressed, I don't really think that this will be make too much of an impact, especially as coal can be diverted to other ports such as Norfolk and Virginia.
But also, how important is the Baltimore Beltway also for the workers there who were transiting through that bridge before in Maryland? And what will it mean for the local economy? And how long do you think it will take for the situation to normalize?
So it's definitely going to have a major impact to commute times, especially those that take the bridge. It could easily double those commute times for some workers. Also, it's going to have a major impact on the shipments of volatile or combustible chemicals. So, for example, if you're shipping just normal goods, semis can go through the tunnels in Baltimore Harbor on I-95. But if you have, let's say, petrochemicals, something that can combust, you would normally have to take the Francis Scott Key Bridge. Now those sorts of shipments are going to have to go all around 695 to the entire western edge of Baltimore City and the Baltimore County, which is going to raise shipping times, cause logistical headaches, which then causes the rise in the price of goods. So it's not going to be good for anybody involved in a timeline. I'd say the closest incident to this that we've seen is when the Genoa Bridge in 2018, the port of Genoa in Italy, that collapsed. And that took about 2 years to rebuild and to get back in working order. So I'd expect similar things here. So it's going to be a while.
Absolutely, a very tragic event as well. Chase Klassen, thank you very much for your analysis.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.